morning, dear students. Today, I am here before you to start a new chapter in biology, that is, why do we fall ill? ಯಾಕೆ ನಾವು ರೋಗಕ್ಕೆ ಬೀಳ್ತೀವಿ? What is the reason to fall ill? So every one of us, all of us have a desire that we should have what? We should have good health. ನಮಗೆ ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೆ ಆರೋಗ್ಯವಂತರಾಗಿರಲು ಆಶೆ ಇದೆ. Whenever we feel ill or whenever we feel sick, something what happens in our body? Discomfortable. We don't feel like to talk or we don't feel like to do any activities what we are doing actively. Therefore, all our desire, every one of us, our desire is that we should have good health. Health, we call health is wealth. If you buy any wealth from anywhere, that is not more important, but we should have health. If the health is there, that means we have got good wealth. So that is a very common saying that health is wealth. Arogyave bhagya. Therefore, many times or the last few years or few months back, we have seen in the TV or in the newspaper that many of our places or in the states, what happens due to natural calamities, prakriti vikopadinda pratyekavagi made, there was a huge heavy rain during last few months back, and many of our states got affected in the sense we got what? Flood. So once the people are affected with the flood, that is not the end of flood. What happens after flood? There will be many kind of sickness that will cause to the people. ಫ್ಲಡ್ ಆಗಿ ಒಮ್ಮೆ ಫ್ಲಡ್ ಆದರೆ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ನಂತರ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ಅನೇಕ ಜನರು ಅನೇಕ ರೋಗಗಳಿಗೆ ತುತ್ತಾಗ್ತಾರೆ. ಆಫ್ಟರ್ ಸಿಕ್ನೆಸ್ ವಾಟ್ ಹ್ಯಾಪನ್ಸ್? ದಟ್ ಸಿಕ್ನೆಸ್ ವಿಲ್ ನಾಟ್ ಗೋ at a stretch, but what happens, sometimes it will be there for the longer time and people has to cope up with that sickness, and there will be, after curing or sickness to cure, we have to struggle a lot. That is a very very common issues that we have read, we have seen in the TV. It was a very common that people were affected, and today we are going to study why do we fall ill. There is a very simple chapter that we all of us know. So why this chapter is inserted in your syllabus? Because we should have awareness. ಮುಂಜಾಗ್ರತೆ ನಮಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಿರಬೇಕು. ನಮ್ಮ ಆರೋಗ್ಯದ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ನಮಗೆ ಮುಂಜಾಗ್ರತೆ ಇರಬೇಕು. Isn't it? So we should have that awareness. Because of that, we are going to study about the why do we fall ill. Therefore, health and diseases are the common issues in the community. Therefore, one is a health, another one we call it is a diseases. So, ಆರೋಗ್ಯ ಮತ್ತು ರೋಗ, ಇದು ಎರಡು ವಿಷಯಗಳು ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ ನಮ್ಮ community. That means we are living in the group, we are living in the society. That is, once if you have got good health, that means we can live very happily in our society or in our surrounding. That means everyone are expecting that we should have good health. We shouldn't fall to any kind of diseases. That means our health is in our hand. That means that whenever we are affected to the diseases, we have to regain our health. ಯಾವಾಗಲೂ ನಾವು ರೋಗಕ್ಕೆ ತುತ್ತಾಗುವಾಗ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ಅದೇ ರೋಗದಲ್ಲಿ ಇರಲು ಸಾಧ್ಯವಿಲ್ಲ. We have to treat that disease. We have to come back to our normal health. Therefore, it is a very first concept. Remember, health and the diseases, very very common issues today in our community. Therefore, if we as an individual, we are planning or we have that we should have good health. Good health is very important for when we live in our society. Therefore, if you consider in our body part, so you take from the body part. Our body part, we have got from the head to the foot, we have got many organs in our body. ನಮ್ಮ ದೇಹದಲ್ಲಿ ಅನೇಕ ಅಂಗಾಂಶಗಳು ಇವೆ. ಏನು ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ, ಪ್ರತಿಯೊಂದು ಅಂಗಾಂಶ, you take each each organ in the body, every and each organ, what it does the particular function. ಪ್ರತ್ಯೇಕ ನಿರ್ದಿಷ್ಟ ಕಾರ್ಯಗಳನ್ನದು ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ. So for example, you take the internal organs, ಆಂತರಿಕ ಅಂಶಗಳನ್ನು ತಗೊಳ್ಳಿ. So it is first you take the kidney. So kidney, what it does? It purifies the waste which are releasing in our body. Therefore the kidney is a very important organ. ಏನು ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ? ದೇಹದಲ್ಲಿ ಇದ್ದ ಕಶ್ಮಲಗಳನ್ನು ಏನು ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ? ಅದು ದೇಹದಿಂದ ಹೊರಗೆ ಹಾಕುವ ಕೆಲಸ ಅದು ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ. If your kidney is not functioning, what happens? It's a very disease important that what happens if your kidney is not functioning? We feel discomfortable and our whole body gets affected. And secondly, you take the brain. So brain, what it does? Brain does the very important function of thinking, understanding, memory, willpower. Therefore ಎಲ್ಲ ಕಾರ್ಯಗಳು ಯಾವುದು ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ? ಬ್ರೈನ್. ಕಿಡ್ನಿ ಮಾಡೋಕ್ಕೆ ಸಾಧ್ಯ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಕಿಡ್ನಿ ಮಾಡೋದು ಯಾವುದು? ಇಟ್ ರಿಮೂವ್ಸ್ ದ ವೇಸ್ಟ್ ಫ್ರಮ್ ದ ಬಾಡಿ. ಬ್ರೈನ್, ವಾಟ್ ಇಟ್ ಡಸ್? ಇಟ್ ಮೇನ್ಲಿ ಡಸ್ thinking, memory, all these it can be done with the brain. If your brain is not functioning, what happens? You cannot think, you cannot understand, therefore whole body gets affected. Now for example, you take eyes. So eyes are sensitive organ. If your eyes are not functioning, you cannot see the world, isn't it? Therefore if your one part of your body is not functioning, ಯಾವುದೇ ಒಂದು ಭಾಗ ಸರಿಯಾಗಿ ಕಾರ್ಯನಿರ್ವಹಿಸದಿದ್ದರೆ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ? ಅವರ್ ಹೋಲ್ ಬಾಡಿ, ಇಡೀ ದೇಹಕ್ಕೆ ಅದು ಕಾರಣವಾಗುತ್ತೆ. ಇಡೀ ದೇಹ ನಿರ್ದಿಷ್ಟ ಕಾರ್ಯವನ್ನು ಮಾಡಲು ಸಾಧ್ಯ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಹೋಲ್ ಬಾಡಿ ಕೆನಾಟ್ ಬಿ normally, it cannot be functioning. Therefore there are many organs. I have given just 3 examples. Therefore kidney, therefore brain, therefore eyes, and therefore if you see the ear is a sensitive organ. If your ears are not functioning, you cannot hear. Therefore all these, our body is performing these activities. If one of these body part is affected, the whole body cannot be functioning normally. Therefore remember, the health is very common. Therefore all of us should have the awareness what is the important significance of the health. ಆರೋಗ್ಯವಾಗಿ ಇರಲು ನಮಗೆ ಏನೆಲ್ಲ ಬೇಕು, ಯಾವ ರೀತಿ ನಾವು ಆರೋಗ್ಯವಾಗಿ ಇರಲು ಸಾಧ್ಯ. And secondly, another point, personal as well as community matter is very important. Personal as well as community is very important for our health. So personal ಅಂದ್ರೆ ವೈಯಕ್ತಿಕ, ಕಮ್ಯುನಿಟಿ ಅಂದರೆ ಸಾಮಾಜಿಕ. ವೈಯಕ್ತಿಕ ಅಂಶಗಳು ಮತ್ತು ಸಾಮಾಜಿಕ ಅಂಶಗಳು ತುಂಬ ಮಾನವನ ಆರೋಗ್ಯದ ಮೇಲೆ ಪ್ರಭಾವ ಬೀರುತ್ತೆ. ಈಗ ಸಿಂಪಲ್ ಡೆಫಿನೇಷನ್ ನಾವು ನೆನಪಿಡಿ. ವಾಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಹೆಲ್ತ್? ಆರೋಗ್ಯ ಅಂದರೆ ಏನು? ವಾಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಹೆಲ್ತ್? ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ ನಥಿಂಗ್. ಹೆಲ್ತ್ ಈಸ್ therefore state of being well through the functioning of physical, mental and social. Therefore it is a physical, mental and social. ಈ 3 ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ ನಿಮಗೆ ನೆನಪಿಡಬೇಕು. ಹೆಲ್ತ್ ಖಾಲಿ ನಮ್ಮ ದೇಹ ಆರೋಗ್ಯವಾಗಿರಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಸಾಧ್ಯ ಇಲ್ಲ. ದೇಹದ ಆರೋಗ್ಯತೆ ಪ್ರಮುಖವಾಗಿ ಮುಖ್ಯ. ಅದೇ ರೀತಿ we should have the clear understanding of health is nothing but being well-being of physical, mental and social. Therefore physical, mental ಅಂದರೆ ಏನು? ಇದು ಮೆಂಟಲ್ ಆಗಿರಬೇಕು. ಅದೇ ರೀತಿ ಸೋಷಿಯಲ್, ಸಾಮಾಜಿಕ. ಅದೇ ರೀತಿ ನಮ್ಮ ದೈಹಿಕ ಮತ್ತು ಮಾನಸಿಕ. ಫಿಸಿಕಲ್ ಅಂದರೆ ದೈಹಿಕ, ಮೆಂಟಲ್ ಅಂದರೆ ಮಾನಸಿಕ, ಸೋಷಿಯಲ್ ಅಂದರೆ ಸಾಮಾಜಿಕವಾಗಿ ನಾವು ವೆಲ್ ಬೀಯಿಂಗ್. ಎಲ್ಲ 3 ಅಂಶಗಳು ಇಂಟರ್ಕನೆಕ್ಟ್ ಆಗಿದ್ರೆ ಮಾತ್ರ ನಾವು ಆರೋಗ್ಯವಂತರಾಗಿರಲು ಸಾಧ್ಯ. ಫಾರ್ ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್, ನಾವು ನಮ್ಮ ಮನೆಯಲ್ಲಿರುವಾಗ ವೆನ್ ವಿ ಆರ್ ಎಟ್ ಹೋಮ್, ವಾಟ್ ಹ್ಯಾಪನ್ಸ್? ಮೆನಿ ಟೈಮ್ ವಿ ಸೇ ಅವರ್ ಗ್ರ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ಮದರ್ ಇಸ್ ನಾಟ್ ಫೀಲಿಂಗ್ well, my sister is not feeling well, my father is not feeling well or not being well. Sometimes our parents are getting sick, that means fever, cold. So we feel that our parents are not being well. It doesn't mean that only your body parts is affected. Therefore, it is also affect physically, mentally, socially. That means personal as well as community is very important for our health. Therefore, health is nothing is being physical, mental and social well-being. It is a functioning of physical, mental and social well-being of the person. Therefore, it is a very important, not only our body parts or our health is affected, but it is affected even the community issues. So, what is this community? Community andre ಏನು? Surrounding. So, surrounding ನಮ್ಮ ಪರಿಸರ ನಮ್ಮ ಆರೋಗ್ಯದ ಮೇಲೆ ಪ್ರಭಾವ ಬೀರುತ್ತೆ. Our community is affected or community is mainly influenced on our health. So, for example, when we go outside or when we see certain times outside, we see many times our surrounding is not clean. Our surrounding is filled with dirty things or filled with so many garbage or so many things they dumped in the surrounding. So that time what happens? Many times our municipality or panchayat people, what they take care of these issues, community issues, because community issues cannot be taken care by individual. Now ಅದರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಕಾಳಜಿ ವಹಿಸಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಸಾಧ್ಯವಿಲ್ಲ. Therefore, authority people like panchayat, municipality, what they do, they take the keen interest that our surroundings should be clean. For example, very common issue we see that in our locality. If you take our locality, what happens? We don't throw the waste outside. What we do? We collect and keep. Now, ಸಂಗ್ರಹಿಸಿ ಇಡ್ತೇವೆ. And you see once in a week, ವಾರಕ್ಕೊಮ್ಮೆ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ? They come and they take the waste from our home. That means we have to dispose. We have to dispose in a particular manner. That time what happens? So, our surroundings can be clean. Many times, many of the places you see, now it is much more improved, but in previous times when we see that, many times our health, what happens? Our health gets upset because of all these community matters. And today our government, our panchayat, our local authorities have taken keen interest that our surroundings should be clean. Our surrounding we need to keep clean. Therefore, that means we have to dispose the garbage in a particular manner that it shouldn't be affected even to the people, even to anyone. That means we are more important. That is personal as well as community matters are very important for our health basis. So this is just about how the personal and community matter is very important for our health. And next, when we come to the another concept, that is about the diseases. What is diseases and its causes? Causes, you know what are diseases? ರೋಗಗಳು ಮತ್ತು ಆ ರೋಗ ಬರಲು ಕಾರಣವೇನು? What are the diseases and what are the causes for the diseases? Therefore, I told just now, diseases are nothing. It is being uncomfortable. So just remember the terms uncomfortable. So ನಮಗೆ ಯಾವುದೇ ರೋಗ ಬರುವಾಗ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ? ನಾವು ನಮ್ಮ ದೇಹ ಸರಿಯಾಗಿ ಕಾರ್ಯ ನಿರ್ವಹಿಸಲ್ಲ. We feel uncomfortable in our body. Either you take a small headache or you take a small cold or cough. What happens? Your whole body gets affected. Not only your head, not only your throat, not only anywhere, but your whole body feels what? Uncomfortable. ನಾವು ಸ್ವಾಭಾವಿಕವಾಗಿರಲು ಸಾಧ್ಯವಿಲ್ಲ. Therefore, we feel something wrong in our body. Therefore, we feel that diseases, any diseases you take, long term, short term diseases you take, any diseases ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ? ನಮಗೆ uncomfortable ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ಮತ್ತು ಸರಿಯಾಗಿ ಕಾರ್ಯನಿರ್ವಹಿಸಲು, ಸರಿಯಾಗಿ ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡಲು. So we cannot do any work perfectly when we are uncomfortable. And secondly, we remember the diseases. If the diseases are occurring, the functioning of the body cannot be taken normally. Functioning of the body. Functioning of the body cannot be taken normally. For example, so if the small child has got a loose motion. So if the small child has got a loose motion. So how this loose motion occurs normally? Not by itself. It comes due when we take the uncontaminated food. Uncontaminated food. Many times if the food is uncontaminated, what happens? Many times now it is very less because of the coronavirus. We don't take food outside, isn't it? All of us are aware because it's a contagious disease. People know what happens when they are affected to this virus. Therefore, earlier what happens? Many times when we see something outside selling, what we do? We are tend to take. ನಮ್ಗೆ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ? ಆಶೆ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ, ನಾವು ತಗೊಳ್ತೀವಿ, ನಾವು ತಿಂತೀವಿ, but we don't know what condition. So uncontaminated food means what? Yeah, uncontaminated. When the food is exposed outside, ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ? So we can see the mosquitoes, flies, ants, everything will be there on that food. And that time what happens? Food gets uncontaminated, and we consume. And what happens finally? The viruses enter into our body. Viruses. Therefore, viruses are what? The microorganisms, ಸೂಕ್ಷ್ಮಾಣುಜೀವಿಗಳು, which are not visible to our naked eyes. ನಮ್ಮ ಕಣ್ಣಿಗೆ ಕಾಣಲ್ಲ. Therefore, what happens? We are tend to get that diseases to our body, and very fast, and the major disease we are going to get is loose motion. Therefore, there are many causes. ನಿಮಗೆ ಡಿಸೀಸಸ್ ಗೊತ್ತಾಯಿತು. ಲೂಸ್ ಮೋಷನ್ ಕಾಸಸ್ ಏನು? ಕಾರಣ ಏನು? ಕಂಟಾಮಿನೇಟೆಡ್ ಫುಡ್. ಆ ಕಂಟಾಮಿನೇಟೆಡ್ ಫುಡ್ ತಿಂದ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ? ವೈರಸಸ್ ಎಂಟರ್ into our body, and that viruses take place in our body, and that takes major role in our body, and therefore we get sickness. Therefore, that sickness, what happens? We cannot live just like that. If the person is having continuous loose motion, what happens? He feel very weak. There is no strength in the body. We have to do? We have to treat. We have to regain our health back, isn't it? Therefore, students, remember, we have to treat that disease. And we have to get back our health to the normal condition. Therefore, you take only one disease I am giving here. There are many diseases. A disease ge a karanagalu irutte. There is a disease, there is a cause, there is a prevention. So you have to remember, students, any disease, ಯಾವುದೇ ರೋಗ ಬಂದರೆ ನಾವು ಆ ರೋಗಕ್ಕೆ ಲಕ್ಷಣಗಳಿವೆ, ಆ ರೋಗಕ್ಕೆ ಕಾರಣಗಳಿವೆ, ಆ ರೋಗ ಯಾಕೆ ಬಂತು, ಆ ರೋಗದಿಂದ ನಮಗೆ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ಆ ರೋಗ ಎಂಟರ್ ಆಗಿದ್ರೆ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ಅದನ್ನು ಹಾಗೇನೆ ಬಿಟ್ಟರೆ ನಮ್ಮ ಬಾಡಿ ಸಿಸ್ಟಮ್ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ? ಸರಿಯಾಗಿ ಫಂಕ್ಷನ್ ಆಗಿರಲು ಸಾಧ್ಯವಿಲ್ಲ. Therefore, there is a treatment for any kind of diseases. And secondly, the diseases, ರೋಗಗಳು ಏನಾಗಿರುತ್ತೆ? There are two types of diseases. ನೆನಪಿಡಿ, ಆ diseases, ರೋಗಗಳನ್ನು ನಾವು ಎರಡು ರೀತಿಯಾಗಿ ವಿಂಗಡಣೆ ಮಾಡಬಹುದು. The first we call it is a acute disease, and second one we call it is the chronic. Remember, students, remember, one is called acute disease, another one is called chronic disease. So what is this acute disease? Acute disease andre ಏನು? It is a short term disease ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ. Short term. So short term ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಏನು? Short term ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಈಗ ಒಂದು 2-3 ದಿನ ರೋಗ ಬರುತ್ತೆ, ಆಮೇಲೆ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ? ಅದು ವಾಸಿ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಏನಂದ್ರೆ ಅಕ್ಯೂಟ್. ವಾಟ್ ಆರ್ ದ ಕಾಮನ್ ಡಿಸೀಸಸ್? ವೈರಲ್ ಫೀವರ್ ಕೇಳಿದ್ದೇವೆ ಅಲ್ವಾ? ವೈರಲ್ ಫೀವರ್ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ? ಅದು ಮಾನವನಿಗೆ ಬರುವಾಗ ಅದು 2 ಅಥವಾ 3 ದಿನ ಇರುತ್ತೆ, 4 ದಿನ, 5 ದಿನ. ಆಮೇಲೆ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ? ಆ ಲಕ್ಷಣಗಳು ನಮ್ಮ ಬಾಡಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ವಿ ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಸಿ ದ symptoms of the viral fever, and after when you treat that, the virus is completely vanishes from our body, so we can regain our health back. ಪುನಃ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ? ನಮ್ಮ ಹೆಲ್ತ್ ನಮಗೆ ಸಿಗುತ್ತೆ. So we call it the short term diseases. We call it is a acute disease, short term. Therefore, like fever, cold, cough, leg pain, hand pain, all these are the acute diseases in the short period of time. So ಕೇವಲ ಕೆಲವೇ ದಿನಗಳಲ್ಲಿ, ಕೆಲವೇ ತಿಂಗಳುಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಆ ರೋಗಗಳು ನಮ್ಮಿಂದ ನಾಶವಾದರೆ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ನಾವು acute disease ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ. And second one we call it is the chronic disease. Chronic is the long term diseases. What is called? It is a long term diseases. Long term ಅಂದರೆ ನಮಗೆ ಅದು ತುಂಬ ವರ್ಷಗಳು ಇರುತ್ತೆ, ತುಂಬ ವರ್ಷಗಳಿಂದ ಅದು ಇರುತ್ತೆ, ತುಂಬ ವರ್ಷಗಳು. ಕೆಲವೊಮ್ಮೆ ಮಾನವನ ದೇಹದಿಂದ ಆ ರೋಗದ ಲಕ್ಷಣಗಳು ಅಥವಾ ರೋಗಗಳು ಹೊರಗಡೆ ಹೋಗ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಸಾಧ್ಯನೇ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಅದಕ್ಕೋಸ್ಕರ ನಾವು ಏನಂತ ಕರಿತೇವೆ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ? We call it as a long term diseases, the diseases which last for the many years. So for example, one example I give. The one example, the tuberculosis of the lung. Lung ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಗೊತ್ತಿದೆ, ಶ್ವಾಸಕೋಶ. ಟ್ಯೂಬರ್ಕ್ಯುಲೋಸಿಸ್ ಇಸ್ ಅ ಬ್ಯಾಕ್ಟೀರಿಯಲ್ ಡಿಸೀಸ್, TB ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ. ಅದು ಜಾಸ್ತಿಯಾಗಿ ಎಫೆಕ್ಟ್ ಆಗೋದು ನಮ್ಮ ಲಂಗ್ಸ್, ಶ್ವಾಸಕೋಶಕ್ಕೆ. ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ ಅದು ನಮಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತೇ ಆಗಲ್ಲ. Therefore, lung tuberculosis is the main symptoms of cough and permanent they will be having. And once the bacteria is entered into our body, it takes number of years to get lost. We call it as a chronic. Already a bacteria ಏನಾಗಿದೆ ಮಾನವನ ದೇಹದಲ್ಲಿ ಬಂದು ನಿಂತಿದೆ. Therefore, it takes a very very long term to go out from the body. Therefore, we call the long term diseases of the lungs where the people get affected. We call it as a tuberculosis. Tuberculosis. It is a very very chronic disease. And another disease like a kidney failure. You have seen when the person's kidney is not functioning, ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ? Kidney failure is a chronic disease where the person has to take the regular medicine and he has to undergo the treatment every now and then, and therefore only then he can cure his diseases. Therefore, there are many diseases are there. So one of is called as an acute disease, and secondly we call it as a chronic disease. So with these diseases we see acute disease is a short-term disease where within the short duration of time the person's health can be regained. So there is no any complication to the body. ಯಾವುದೇ ಕಾಂಪ್ಲಿಕೇಶನ್ ಬಾಡಿಗೆ ಆಗಲ್ಲ, ಯಾಕಂದರೆ ಅಷ್ಟೊಂದಿಗೆ ರೆಸಿಸ್ಟೆಂಟ್ ಪವರ್ ನಮಗೆ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಸೆಕೆಂಡ್ ಕ್ರಾನಿಕಲಿ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ? ಲಾಂಗ್ ಟರ್ಮ್ ಡಿಸೀಸಸ್ ವೇರ್ ದ ಪರ್ಸನ್ ಹ್ಯಾಸ್ ಟು ಸಫರ್ ಲೈಫ್ ಲಾಂಗ್. ಸಮ್ಟೈಮ್ಸ್ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ಕೆಲವೊಂದು ಕ್ಯಾನ್ಸರ್ ಸಿಂಥೆಟಿಕ್ಸ್ ಕ್ರೋನಿಕ್. ಸೊ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ನಮಗೆ ಇನಿಷಿಯಲಿ ನಾವು ಮೆಡಿಸಿನ್ ತಗೊಳ್ಳುವಾಗ ನಮಗೆ ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿರುತ್ತೆ ಆರೋಗ್ಯ, ಬಟ್ ವಾಟ್ ಹ್ಯಾಪನ್ಸ್ once your health is deteriorated, your body gets affected and you can see that it remains for the longer and longer time, and person always has to take the medicine. Therefore, we can classify into acute disease and the chronic disease. So students, today we have studied about mainly the chapter why do we fall ill, what are the diseases, what are the causes for the diseases, and why personal and community matters are very essential for the disease causing. And next, what are the diseases and what are the main two types of diseases, that is acute disease and the chronic disease. Therefore, acute is a short-term disease and the chronic is a long-term disease. And we should know the causes for the diseases. What are the causes for the diseases? So next we should know what are the causes for the disease. ಯಾವುದೇ ರೋಗ ಇದ್ದರೆ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ನಾವು ಕೆಲವೊಂದು ಲಕ್ಷಣಗಳನ್ನು ನಾವು ನೋಡಬೇಕು. ಯಾಕೆ ನಮಗೆ ರೋಗ ಬರುತ್ತೆ, ಯಾಕೆ ಯಾವ ರೋಗದ ಲಕ್ಷಣಗಳು ಯಾವುದು? ಜಸ್ಟ್ ಐ ಟೇಕ್ ಸಮ್ ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್. ನಾವು ಫೀವರ್. So fever ಬಂದಾಗ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ ನಮಗೆ? when we have got fever, for example, now one day you have got heavy rain and ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಮಳೆ ಇರುವಾಗ ನಾವು ಹೊರಗಡೆನೆ ಆ ಮಳೆಗೆ ನೆಂದ್ರೆ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, very surely we are going to get what? We are going to get cold, or we are going to get cough, we are going to get fever. Therefore, ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಮೇನ್ ಲಕ್ಷಣ ಏನು? ನಾವು ಮಳೆಗೆ ನೆಂದದ್ದು. We are getting wet in the rain and we are going to get fever. Therefore, for every diseases there is what? There is certain kinds of symptoms or certain kind of causes we can observe. And secondly, when we see the diseases, now I told you the food poison of the body, that is taking the uncontaminated food or uncontaminated ವಾಟರ್. ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ಕೆಲವೊಮ್ಮೆ ನಾವು ನೀರನ್ನು ಏನು ಮಾಡ್ತೇವೆ, ಹಾಗೆಯೇ ಕುಡಿತೀವಿ, ನಾವು ಕುದಿಸಲ್ಲ. ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ ನಮಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಿರಲ್ಲ ನೀರಲ್ಲಿ ಏನಿರುತ್ತೆ. ವಾಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಪ್ರೆಸೆಂಟ್ ಇನ್ ದ ವಾಟರ್, ಬಿಕಾಸ್ naked microorganisms can be seen in the water, and that organisms can be enter into our body and we feel water, we feel discomfortable and our body gets affected. Once when you drink uncontaminated water, we get lot of disturbance in the body and our body gets affected. Therefore, there are many reasons are there, many causes are there why we feel ill. Once when we feel ill, so there are causes and there are also after causes there are symptoms, and we cannot leave the symptoms just like that. We have to do certain kind of prevention. So this much you have to remember, what are diseases, types of diseases and the causes for the diseases.